This week, it seemed as if the entirety of our media awoke to the danger of a second Trump presidency, and all I can say is it's about time. Welcome to MOMocrats Chat, part of the Demcast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills here with Karoli and Aliza Worthington from crooksandliars.com. And oh my goodness. Right?
Right.
Yeah, they're finally getting it.
I think it started with that Washington Post headline.
Yeah.
Which one?
The editorial, the Robert Kagan editorial, is that the one you're talking about?
That's the one. Yes.
Yeah. Because that was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. A Trump dictatorship is inevitable.
Right. Oh. That was the title.
Well, that'll do it.
It was pretty, I mean, honestly, I was put off by that title. I thought, it's not inevitable as long as we elect Biden, right?
Well, I mean, as long as even recognize that Democrats exist in his op-ed.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like, what if we actually get people to vote?
Yeah.
Right. And win. There's a concept.
But it was a good warning to his fellow Republicans.
No, it was. It was a good warning, and it was also like you said, it woke up the media. I mean, suddenly we have them talking about what we've been saying for months, years, right? That Trump is a dictator, that Trump is an autocrat, that Trump is a fascist. I mean, all of these things now are suddenly real. Maybe, I don't know, it could also be the rise of fascism in other countries too. That it's kind of sounding that warning bell in our press. But whatever it is, they need to keep doing it.
Yeah. I mean, after all, you're sitting here reporting on what's happening in other countries. You can't turn a blind eye to your own country.
Well, like
to think about from before.
They try. but then that was followed by, the Liz Cheney blitz of every news media outlet that would have her.
I think that's more influential.
But then you also had the Atlantic issue.
Right.
It's totally about what Trump would do.
Right.
Wait. I didn't hear either of you because you were both talking.
Sorry. So Atlantic just rolled out their new issue that had 22 writers writing about what kind of damage Trump would do to this country. I mean, it was really strongly worded, and that was, unfortunately, it's behind a paywall online, but it's, still to devote an entire issue to that is pretty important. But I'm going to disagree with you on the Liz Cheney book and the saturation tour. Yes, it contributes to the message, but I don't think it's what sparked the message at all. Because she's been saying that for years. I mean, the things she's saying in this book, she's been saying for years. And by the way, I'm reading the book and it's very good. It holds my attention while I'm on the elliptical trainer. So she names names. Well, I'm just going to say Jonathan Karl's book did not. I couldn't listen to him and even do the treadmill, much less the elliptical. But her book holds my attention, and she names names, a lot of names. And by the way, Kevin McCarthy really looks like an asshole,
which he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's like more of an asshole than any of us ever dreamed. I'm just saying. Yeah. Like she establishes how big a liar he is and how he lies to everybody. And then, like the whole thing with how he like tanked the commission, the 9/11 style commission and everything and how he basically contributed to her being removed from leadership. And, it's just, and one of the things you get out of this is how misogynist the Republicans are. I mean, it's not just Republicans, I know, but in this case, it was just Republicans. And they're doing stuff like, come up with something to apologize for, Liz, so that we don't have to remove you from leadership.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And she's like, no, I'm not going to apologize for anything. There's nothing for me to apologize for.
Yeah, she's the only one who didn't have something to apologize for.
I'm defending the Constitution. Well, you have to come up with something to be sorry about.
I'm sorry I have to work with you fuckers.
Yeah, really.
Right? And you get the award for the first F.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You guys are such assholes.
Right. I mean, that was just horrifying. And then, seeing Elisa's like stuff she says about Elise Stefanik, and I mean, all I'm saying is she names names.
Tell me about Elise Stefanik. I want to hear.
Well, that's the one that's been the soundbite, so you've probably heard it, right? Which is that Elise Stefanik, she basically came up and said something to her about. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, if you keep doing what you're doing, you know, I know what it was. You're making me look bad, right? I'm getting calls from constituents saying, why aren't you taking the principled stand that Liz Cheney is taking? And she said, you're making me look really bad. And Liz
That's
Cheney,
the lesson.
that sounds like your problem.
Yeah, that's a you problem. Yep. Yep. I'm not making you look bad. You're making you look bad.
Exactly. So that was pretty good.
So Liz's book debuted at #1. Didn't it sell out its first printing already?
I wouldn't be surprised.
So it can't be all Democrats buying it, can it?
No,
I
don't think so.
I doubt it.
And there's points in the book where I'm like, fuck you, Liz, because she's like, I want to fight against socialism and blah, 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 and, and everything like that. But the thing that you do take away is it, and it's not her words, it's what she did. It's not that what she said, it's what she did, that she really does put the Constitution above everything else.
Yeah.
And so it's a book worth reading. I definitely would recommend it. I think it's, it's nice the way she dishes on everybody too. She's got some stuff on Nancy Mace being two-faced and, yeah.
Nancy Mace, who won't stop talking about her sex life.
Yeah. Well, Nancy Mace did you see that she's splitting up with her fiance
Yes.
Yeah, and they have like these 2 houses that they co-own that they're now fighting over and everything. And it's like, and her chief of staff quit, and then she had 2 other key staffers quit after that, because she's like, and she probably could be accused of sexual harassment.
Well, this is getting almost as good as the Florida GOP chair.
Oh my God, this is really juicy.
Republicans, man, they should not repress their natural urges, is all I have to say.
All that repression comes out somehow.
So
not in a very pretty way.
So the GOP chair thing is like,
and Moms for Liberty.
And Moms for Liberty is really bad. So these 2 people are people that are like, never apologize for anything that you do. Right. And then you see the details of this come out. And this woman who's had a relationship for years with them and everything, even though Bridget, Ziegler, says that, she only did a threesome once. So that's not so bad. Remember, she's like LGBTQ. And so
she helped write the Don't Say Gay law in Florida.
Right. Yeah, she did. Yeah. I love those earrings. I think they're great. Yeah. So
I wore them escorting today.
Well, that's excellent.
You just knew that it would come up this afternoon.
Feeling.
Well, so these 2, just in case anybody doesn't know this, Bridget and her husband Christian's the head of the Florida Republican Party. Great and name. Bridget is one of the founders of Moms for Liberty. And she sits on a school board, and she also like advises people on how to run for the school board and everything. And she does it all on this anti-LGBTQ plus platform and everything. So now this woman is accusing Christian Ziegler of raping her. And I look at this guy and I think nobody would voluntarily do this with him, would they? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We can't say what attractions are, proper. Anyway, so she's admitted, the wife, Bridget, has admitted to having a threesome only once, even though they've known this woman for 20 years. And, so Christian is alleged to have gone over there. Well, he texted her and said, this woman, and said, both of us are ready to come over. Both me and Bridget are ready to come over. And she said she didn't answer for like a half hour. And then when she did answer, she said, he said, well, Bridget can't come now because you didn't answer. And she's like, well, then forget it, because I was mostly in it for her.
Alrighty then.
Yeah. And
These
then
are details of which I was unaware.
yeah. So please tell me more about how it was just once. But anyway, he goes over there, and then there's details there. Like, I'm not going to repeat the details.
That's
here,
okay.
but it's pretty graphic in the article that I read and everything. And it's iffy as to whether it would be considered rape. There seems to be some sort of consensual aspect to it in the video that they found the video that he videoed. Yeah, he videoed them doing this.
Nice. Okay.
And then deleted it and then restored it, gave it to the police. And so there's some debate about whether it was actual rape or not. But, whatever it was or wasn't, right? These are the people that are all the, oh my goodness, we have the vapors over,
These are the pearl clutchers.
Yeah.
About fucking everything.
Well,
right.
Bridget's been scrubbed from the Moms for Liberty site. And Christian, I think, is out as Florida GOP chair. Is that correct?
He is?
Okay,
No.
not out. Oh, okay.
Oh, no, as far as I know, he refused to, he's like, no, I'm never going to apologize for anything.
A rape charge is a feather in a cap, and that's all.
Yeah, I was going to say, why would there be a consequence for either of them? I'm really surprised Moms for Liberty booted Bridget.
Well, there is an ick factor here.
Right? There's a huge ick factor.
Right. I mean, whatever.
Okay, so homosexuality is a bridge too far.
No, not so much that.
Yeah, just the whole, we didn't do these, we're family values people who don't do these kinds of things, when in fact they are, doing Christian swinging at the very least, right? I mean, so, there's like, maybe these aren't the people that need to be the face of our hateful party. And I'm thinking, well, maybe actually they are.
Yeah.
Because, they really represent the hypocrites and, in the Republican Party and what they do. Like, I don't care what people do. If they want to, do whatever consenting adults want to do, let them do it. But don't come out then and tell everybody else they can't do it.
Don't ban books that are helpful to people. Don't ban literature.
Yeah.
Don't ban the books that, an adolescent is looking for to get some answers while they try to figure themselves out.
Or some guidance or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, they're banning,
they're banning
literature, they're banning books that we all read as teenagers and made us think. They don't want you to think.
Right. So,
and they're the ones saying they want to go back to the old days, right? Like they want, they want.
Well, the old days are 1920.
I mean, there were some pretty provocative, thought-provoking books in the 1920s. But
they were all banned.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, Karoli said, I don't care if they want to go, swing or do threesomes or be gay or whatever, but don't tell us that we can't, right?
Right.
I feel like if they think, I don't care if they want to not be gay and they want to be against being gay themselves, fine. Don't be gay. Don't get gay married. Don't do the gay thing.
Right. But stop telling other people that
stop telling other people that they can't do the gay thing.
It's
or the threesome or the whatever.
Very similar to what was happening in Britain, where Boris Johnson was, where they were imposing these very strict COVID restrictions, and yet the Johnson government was partying away.
Right. Yeah, that's a great example. But I mean, this one is even worse to me because they don't just they're not just, being hypocrites. They're demonizing other people. They're making them out to be child molesters,
Yeah.
and everything. And this is one of the reasons that I actually track the number of Republicans that are uh,
Arrested
hit
and
with, charged or arrested with child molestation or sexual assault
yep.
and everything, is because I hate this hypocrisy. I hate it. And it's just a culture war issue. That all they're doing with that is trying to keep, the evangelicals in their camp. And they don't care. Obviously they don't care.
It's
Right?
more than that. It's more than that. They have, you know, uh, disseminated this message that all people who are liberal are child molesters.
Right.
It's
Rumors.
gone all through the whole Q thing. And then, as we learn from all the people who do get arrested for these things, the projection, they are accusing everybody of the things that they are doing themselves.
Right.
Yeah. Not a
And,
drag queen.
And
So, Carolee, I want to know more about this tracking that you're doing. Are you like actually keeping a spreadsheet?
I'm not keeping a spreadsheet. I just keep like a full email folder, and I have some Google searches set up, and I put them in there. And if there's this particularly juicy one, I usually have somebody at Crooks and Liars do it.
Yeah.
But one of the places that's the best for if you want to read about Christian, uh, especially pastors, being hypocrites and sexual harassers and assaulters. The Roy's report, Julie Roy's, is where you want to go read that. And it's the Roy's,
How do you spell her last
Roy's
name?
report, Roys. And every day she has 2 or 3 articles on her site. It's like her site is like Crooks and Liars is, except
Yeah.
for errant pastors.
and there seem to be a lot of them. I'm not
No, there are.
formally
Talk
tracking
about
them,
repression.
but
Like,
on social media, you keep seeing them arrested for child pornography, child molestation.
Sexual assault, sexual
Yeah,
harassment. It runs.
bad eggs in that cohort.
Yeah.
But and people put it up there and say, "Hey, not a drag queen,"
Yeah, right, exactly. And that's the thing. That's why I pay attention to it, is because I'm tired of this whole, pointing the fingers at other people that are not doing any harm to other people, that are living their lives the way they want to live them, and being condemned for it. I just, it's
and not just condemned, statistically more likely to be the victim of a sexual assault.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a violent assault.
Basically
Ziegler.
saying the Zieglers need to go away and be accountable. If he raped her, he should be accountable for raping her, and they should just but if he didn't, they should still just fade away into obscurity and be done, right? Or at least own the fact that they're both
Hypocrites.
hypocrites. Yeah.
So, speaking of Christian hypocrites, although
Which
I don't
one
know,
are we going to talk about? Mike Johnson or
yes,
is that
Mike
where
Johnson,
we're
who thinks he's Moses.
who
Come
told
on.
who told he did not know he was being live streamed, so he spoke off
Candidly.
candidly, and said that God has spoken to him, and he's Moses.
Okay.
Yeah, Moses. Sure.
Well, he's,
Sure thing.
everybody knows, on the night, Hanukkah is all about Moses coming down from Mount Rushmore with the Bill of Rights. That's what Hanukkah is all about. And I think that it is really important that Mike Johnson let everybody know that he is Moses. I am, for one, as a Jew, really relieved to know that we have the second coming of Moses. And now we can all go to Israel and be raptured. Isn't that right? Did I get that right?
Sure.
So, yeah.
So, he wants to release all the January 6th footage with the faces of the perpetrators blurred so that they don't get in trouble from liberals trying to identify them to the Justice Department.
Right. So first it was so they don't get charged with any crimes.
Yeah,
That's what he said first.
yeah,
And then he tiptoed that back and said, well, no, that's not exactly what I meant. What I really meant was that the liberals wouldn't come and harass them for
right.
doing what they did. As if they should suddenly be exempt from,
Laws.
from an insurrection. I mean, I don't know. One of the things you really realize, Liz Cheney does a good job in her book of describing what it felt like to be in the Capitol when all of that happened.
I
And
did
it
hear
was,
some of those excerpts, and it was just harrowing.
chilling.
Yeah.
It really was. Yeah, it kept me going on the elliptical yesterday. I'm like,
But you see, we've got this Christian nationalist now as Speaker of the House.
Yes, we do.
And she does a good job talking about, from what I understand in the book, about what a dangerous man Mike Johnson is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Um,
She does. I wish that had come out before they elected him. Honestly, I'm sure she probably sounded the alarm behind the scenes when they.
I can't imagine. Do you think it would have made a difference?
No,
I don't think so.
no,
I,
because they
I
were,
think it would. I mean, it's not making a difference now, except that most of us at least are more educated about who this guy is. He's not some, like mild mannered Stephen Colbert lookalike.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, the crazy is spreading back to the Senate.
Yeah.
And, the Republican senators walked out of a debriefing on Tuesday.
Wait, what? I missed
They
this.
were having a classified briefing on why we desperately need to send funds to Ukraine. And they walked out on the briefing, did not hear it.
Why?
Right.
Because they have decided that they're going to tie any funding to Ukraine and Israel to permanently changing our immigration laws so that we no longer offer asylum.
Right.
Because they're cruel bastards.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it just blows me away that what they want is to refuse asylum. And by the way, it's not asylum for everybody. It's just asylum for brown people. I mean, if you're white, they'll figure out a way,
Well,
but
trust me, you'll have to be a certain kind of white because
yeah,
it'll go back to no more Jews, no more Italians. No, you'll have to be a certain kind of white.
yeah, like Russian white.
Yeah,
For
Nordic white.
Yeah.
British.
So,
and in Russia, they are so happy with this.
Oh yeah, they're thrilled. I'm sure it's Putin led.
oh well, Putin thinks he's won the war because
Yeah.
of this, and Biden's saying, "Listen, I'm open to talking about immigration reforms that as part of this, but you have to stop walking away." Right, because it's not just Ukraine funding that they're talking about here. It's also Israel funding that they're talking about here that
Yes.
the Senate tanked the other day. And, there can be different opinions about whether we should be sending billions to Israel, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know all of the ins and outs and, how much they've already got and how much they need. I don't know. But I think walking out on any briefing like that, right, where you need to know those things, where I don't need to know them, but they need to know them.
It is so
right?
unserious.
It is unserious. It's like, what do you think? The fucking world's going to blow up and you people are
so
wild out.
emblematic. It's so emblematic of their view of knowledge.
And Mitch McConnell supports this.
Oh, I know. Well, because this is the thing. What Republicans have, they don't have anything else. They don't have the economy. They don't have anything else. This is what they have is immigration, and it's always what they use. It's what they used in 2008. It's what they used in 2004. It's what they. I mean, this isn't new. What they're doing here, right? And then they will never ever actually do any reforms, that ask Marco Rubio, and he'll tell you they'll never do any reforms, because if they were to do reforms, then they lose the entire fear mongering about the border.
Yeah.
And that's
What
what's
kind of
driving me
caravans
crazy.
are they going to complain about?
Kind of
Right.
like what happened to them when they got what they wanted and Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Right. They got Roe v. Wade, and then it was immigration. Now we've got a great jobs report today. So what are we here? What did they gin up today? The southern border, immigration, asylum seekers. Again, it's always that, because they don't have anything else. They don't have any ideas about anything. It's just making people afraid of other people. And everything. Today I heard this is ridiculous. I heard that the jobs report today was up, right? And
Yeah.
like unemployment's down to 3.7% or something like that. And I think it was I'm
I
pretty
think it's
sure,
even lower than that. I think
yeah, it's either Charlie Kirk or Maria Bartiromo. I don't know.
Oh
They're
my God.
interchangeable,
Yeah.
But either one of them were saying, well, I think it was Kirk. The reason that there were jobs is because the illegal immigrants come in and work in the health and education sectors, right? Because, listen, it it just blows my mind. It
That's right.
does, right? They're
Doesn't
changing
make
grandma's
sense.
diapers. Stop it. And it's like they can't have a creative thought in their head. So instead, this is what they do.
Oh, I think they're very creative. They're creative at disrupting things. Look how creative Tommy Tuberville was. Now he finally allowed them to
Make
promote
this a screenshot.
most of those people. But I mean, there's still some higher ranking officers who he still has the hold on. You've
Yeah,
got
but
Rand
there's
Paul
only
still
12 of them.
holding diplomats,
Yeah. But now there's only 12 of them. They can do those. I mean, that's the thing, was when it was hundreds, it was
Yeah.
not doable. They couldn't do one at a time. So
Yeah.
they had this way, they cleared those hundreds out. And if it's only 12 or 13, they'll do the rest of those.
So I want to know why, again, this is me having not looked at the news at all. Why? I saw that Tuberville dropped his opposition. Why? What happened? What made him?
Chuck Schumer changed the rules for how they passed the NDAA and it was the National Defense Authorization.
Yeah. So it wasn't that he dropped his opposition; it's that he lost.
He lost.
Well, here's what happened. Chuck Schumer changed the rules, and then so it would have forced Republicans to vote against the defense authorization bill.
Right.
Right. They wanted to uphold Tuberville's issue and everything, and none of them did. None of them wanted. I mean, who wants to do that? Who wants to not authorize, funding for veterans and all that stuff, right?
Especially if you've staked your whole political reputation on we are pro-military.
Right.
So that's why, I mean, and he basically said, when he was interviewed about it, well, it was a draw. I dropped my opposition, and no, it wasn't a draw. It was,
he lost.
He lost. Yeah.
Yeah. Schumer outmaneuvered him.
All these months.
Right.
What took
and
so
in
long?
that regard, I mean, if he wants to call that a draw, the fact that he basically hobbled our military for months and months and months, over this, fine, I guess.
Over fucking abortion.
It's not something that I would have been bragging about, but that's just me. So anyway.
An asshole.
Serious asshole. Yeah. I mean, he's one of the ones that just has to go. He has to go. It makes me so sad that we had Doug Jones and now we have Tommy Tuberville. So.
Is there anybody running as a Democrat in Alabama in 2024?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. So, I mean, Alabama and Mississippi are the two states that break my heart all the time.
Yeah.
Because, like, they say, oh, these guys have a great chance, and they never do. So the only reason Doug Jones won was because it was a special election with a low turnout, and his opponent was a nut. So even too much for Republicans to handle.
Yeah, That's saying something.
Yeah. So we had him for that long. But anyway, and in the meantime, we got the defense authorization bill done, I guess, but these supplementals for Ukraine and Israel are not being done right now, and they need to be. And we haven't heard word one out of the House, right? Who's like got a January 13th drop dead date on part of their.
What a disaster.
Yeah. And then another one in February. I haven't heard word one about any of that work being done. Have you? I mean, it seems to me that they're,
getting ready to adjourn for the holidays.
Well, and they're down to one in their majority, right?
Well,
yeah.
we should talk about that.
Yes, we should talk about that.
So last week they lost George Santos.
Right.
And you know what? I'm very proud. I mean, that is something that Republicans did the right thing, most of them, and voted.
It's pretty remarkable
to remove him.
They did it because their donors would have gone, if they would have lost their donors, I think, if they didn't take a stand against that. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
And now, this week, Kevin McCarthy announced that he is leaving at the end of the year, which means he's leaving at the end of this month. And he's taking all of his fundraising toys and walking away.
Well, what's funny about that is Liz Cheney thought that he lost all of his fundraising when he spoke against Trump, and that's why he made the trip down to Mar-a-Lago.
Makes sense. It makes more sense than anything else.
Yeah.
But he's a liar that you can't trust. I mean, that was, he would make deals and then renege on the deals. He would tell everybody what they wanted to hear and then do whatever seemed most expedient for him.
Right.
So I think that was just standard operating procedure for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think so too. I mean,
so Newsom gets to appoint, or what happens? Newsom appoints somebody?
No, there'll be a special election, but they will be without. So they've lost. There's 2 special elections, so they're down 2 with their very narrow majority.
Right. And
so who's the other special election in California? There's another special election?
No, there's George Santos is having a special
okay. I thought
so the thing is, so Gavin Newsom can set this special election for whenever he wants, and that could be November of next year.
Oh, which would mean, that seat is permanently empty until then.
So
okay.
Yeah.
And so do we know if is Hochul in that same position? She can set it.
No, she has to do that soon.
I think it has to be 90. They've already appointed him, and now he has to run. And I think it's 90 days or something.
Yeah.
For him.
Oh, that she's appointed. Susan. Who did she?
Tom Swozey.
Okay. Swozey. Okay.
Whatever is that. Yeah.
I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Yeah. So
he's got to run.
Yeah, it's his old seat.
Yeah.
So are we sad about George Santos and that we didn't get him to record our intro though?
For $75?
Yeah.
I would kick in. I would have kicked in $25.
I think his price has gone up because Jimmy Kimmel.
400. It's 400 now.
400? I don't know if I would have done
Jimmy Kimmel did like a whole series of, I guess he got 10 of them or something.
Kimmel's doing a bit where he just sees how low George will go to do a cameo. These just weird things that he's having them say. But he has raised what, $500,000 on Cameo already?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Well, good for him. Go off and I mean, he should have been an entertainer anyway and not a congressman,
He should have been.
Paid in drag.
Yeah. I mean, he could have legal fees and all kinds of stuff to deal with. So he might as well raise what he can.
And he's going to go to jail, most likely, because
Yeah, I think so too.
He allegedly stole from people again and again and again.
I mean, that's the reason he got expelled, is because he fucked with donors. That you just don't do that.
No,
you do not do that. And that, I mean, even if you're a Republican, you don't do that. And
didn't he rip off one of the other Republican congressmen?
Yeah, his parents. Yes, he did. He used. I don't think he ripped off his Max Miller, but it was
Yeah.
his mother. I thought who. Yeah, and I mean, it was just absolutely like seriously. He might as well have just gone and written a check out of her account for 30,000 or whatever, and I mean, he took it out of her credit card. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Recurring
And now he
payments.
doesn't have the money to refund it. So there's that. That's awesome.
I'm looking
So
for the most recent info on Santos and Cameo because this
yeah.
is worth looking up.
So
But
anyway,
It is $400.
I am fine with saying to Kevin, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. And Republicans have one, and they will have a majority of one in January when they have to pass, those
God,
appropriations.
I wish we could flip some of those New York Republicans.
Well, we can, but not until next year.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
you mean you're talking
I
about?
mean, actually flip their party. Their
Oh,
party
yeah, that
affiliation.
would be. I don't know.
That would be an
Republicans are weird.
earthquake.
It would. I mean, there's a time where I think that would have been possible, but I'm not sure now if it is. It seems like Republicans, they get
They've
locked
like
in.
dug in, you know?
Yeah.
They've dug in and they don't live in a reality-based world anymore.
No, they don't.
And it's frightening because, that extends all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Right. So as long as we're on Congress and Republicans, how about Matt Gaetz?
Yeah, well, maybe we can lose another one.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, they're totally eating their own. I'm loving this.
The biggest mistake they made, in my opinion, was bumping McCarthy out of the speaker seat because that just unleashed chaos.
That was the domino. That was
Well, that's why Matt Gaetz, that's why they're finally doing an ethics thing on Matt Gaetz because they're pissed off. They know that this just has made everything worse.
Right. And Mike Johnson isn't going to raise money for them or recruit new candidates I mean, I
Mike
don't know.
Johnson doesn't even have a real bank account that we're aware of, right?
Really?
Right. Yeah, he does,
Nobody
but I don't know.
knows.
No one
what
knows
he's
where it
done
is.
with all the money that he's earned as an attorney.
Right. Maybe he has them in gold bars under his bed. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's legal.
I don't know. Maybe he and Menendez both have gold bars. Egypt gold bars.
Yeah, Menendez has to go too.
I mean, he's another one I think
Menendez has to go, and he should have already gone because Phil Murphy can appoint.
Phil Murphy can appoint somebody like
he would
appoint somebody good, but I just I mean, not to get
Menendez
off
has to actually go in order for that to happen. He should have already.
Yeah, he should have been gone a long time ago. But
well,
but back to Johnson, I did not know that about his weirdo financial situation. That's
it is weird. It's like he owns a house, but he doesn't have a bank account. Go figure.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem kosher.
I mean, there's a lot about him that doesn't seem kosher. That's one of the actual. That's one. The son who now lives in California, the black son that he adopted. Kind of like
what's up with that?
I know, that kind of disappeared, didn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, for Moses, this is odd behavior.
Right. I know. I mean, Moses is supposed to be bringing commandments and parting the Red Sea, not, hiding money and recruiting, I don't know, candidates. What do I know? It drives me just crazy because this is a thing as a Christian that makes me crazy when people say, the Lord said this to me. And you're like, oh, really? How did you hear it? And how are you sure that was the Lord and not I don't know, Rush Limbaugh or somebody whispering in your ear?
Well, yeah.
Of course,
Rush
maybe
Limbaugh from below.
Exactly. So anyway, it drives me crazy. That's all.
Yeah, it is. It's nuts.
There is a lot that is crazy making.
It is. But
and
one of the things
I'm personally tired. I'm so exhausted by this era.
I know. I'm tired all the time.
And
all the time.
They want us to be. That's I seriously think that's the strategy, is just
Yeah.
wear you out, throw all the shit at you they can in order to wear you out. And it's just like, you have to learn to tune out as much noise as possible and just like focus on the big picture. And it's hard. And it's hard.
Well,
I mean, it's hard for us because we're newsies, right? We're news
Mhm.
junkies, but
yeah.
except for you, Lisa, you don't read the news anymore.
I do. I read, but like I said, I'm a hyper focus on Baltimore now.
Yeah, you've
I'm
got,
just teasing
you're
you.
actually
But it's
living
true.
the
It's
life.
true. I
We,
never watch national news anymore, and I read. I read the Washington Post. I read the Times of Israel. I read what comes across my feed.
yeah,
But I never watch TV news anymore. I never
that's
sit and
good.
watch
That's
like
actually a good
segments.
thing.
And I'm
That
actually
is a
kind
good
of
thing.
feeling like it is smart. But
Yeah.
and anything that comes across crooks and liars, I read, I watch those things. But yeah.
Well, I have always paid attention to the news, but in my previous life as a younger person trying to work and manage my finances and raise a family, I mean, I used to, what I read was I would glance at the daily newspaper, local daily newspaper, the LA Times, and I would read Newsweek once a week. And that was it. I never turned on TV news,
Mm-hmm.
and it was healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, things would happen. It was pre social media. And I just always felt that my opinion was not one that was a real minority, and there weren't other people who thought as I did.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, when I
Unfortunately,
was,
that's now with social media, you have that happening, which is great if you're
right,
us, but
right,
it's happening for all the people that we disagree with too. So,
right, right. Because in my 20s, everybody was rah, rah Reagan. I'm like, oh my God, he's horrible, and,
me too.
and I
I
felt
know.
very isolated. I wish I had known you in my 20s.
I know.
I mean, he was horrible, and he's still horrible. Like people.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't like the Republican Party giving comfort to Putin.
No, he
Well,
wouldn't. And I'm sure George Bush doesn't either, but he was still a horrible president, and I'm not going to soften my views on them.
And as Rachel Maddow pointed out when she had Liz Cheney on her show, we don't agree on 100%
Anything.
of everything on the political spectrum, but we do agree on supporting the Constitution and keeping this country going as a democratic republic.
Yeah.
Right.
And
no, her intro was a little long, but I liked. I mean, it's like, we didn't really need to rehash Dick Cheney, but she did. So
Yeah, I mean, she's
gonna
not
have Liz
responsible
there.
for
You're
her
gonna
father's.
do that a little.
I mean, I do. She's not responsible for her dad's stuff,
right.
But
Exactly. Well, and that wasn't really what Rachel's point was. More like, I hammered Dick Cheney. I was hard on him. I was, and everything. And then, Liz and I don't agree on anything either, but there's this. It's just like, I could have not had to relive the Dick Cheney years. I could have just gone with Liz. It would have been fine. But it's Rachel. That's what she does. So
she's a little long-winded.
just a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay.
So should we visit criminal court?
Yes. Criminal court.
Maybe.
So Trump's been gagged again.
Yay.
Gag him. In fact, that's kind of an interesting image. I'm thinking about, like the bandana on his mouth tied behind him.
Who hasn't wanted to do that?
Oh, man. Yeah. Seriously. So he's been gagged again, and Fonnie Willis is looking for prison
time
for Trump, Rudy, and Mark Meadows. Which is interesting. Mark Meadows has already kind of incriminated himself with his Jack Smith testimony, so that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And We have, oh gosh.
We have Chesbro,
Thank you.
Chesbro making the rounds and testifying in the fake elector schemes around the country.
Right. Which is part of his plea agreement. He has to testify in all those. So interestingly, the Wisconsin electors, basically fake electors, came to a plea agreement where they wouldn't have any jail, but they'd pay a fine and they'd agree not to serve as electors ever again. So that's good. And that, that's a start. But I'm sure that came out as a result of Chesbro's testimony. So, he's been in 4 states so far. We'll see where that goes. And then go ahead.
No, go on.
No, you go, because I was going to move to something else.
Oh, I was going to point out that it looks like he wrote all of those identical certification letters that were the dead giveaway that this was a conspiracy.
Yep.
So he wasn't even a good attorney.
No, he was absolutely crappy. So, also, Hunter Biden.
Hunter. I'm not voting for him after this.
I'm not voting for him in 2024. Didn't vote for him in 2020.
Yeah.
So there's that. So the special counsel has now basically slapped these tax charges on him, which is interesting to somebody like me who actually does taxes.
Yeah.
Because the thing that usually gets you sent to jail is when you fail to report income, right? If you jack your deductions or whatever, they'll fine you and they'll demand that you pay the back taxes, but they don't send you to jail, right? Because the goal is to get the taxes.
Yeah,
right.
They want their money.
Right. And so failure to report income suggests actual tax evasion, right? That's you're not reporting it. Well, Hunter reported all his income. That wasn't the problem. He just jacked around with his deductions. And this was a thing that he came to the agreement on and already has paid and filed all of his amended returns with all the taxes that he owed. So he's already done all that. And they are now, the special counsel, because of all the Republican pressure, has now brought criminal charges against him. Right. And these are, in my opinion, this would be settled. It wouldn't be anything that actually went to court. Am I saying he's wrong or that Hunter is right? No, I'm saying he's wrong and he corrected the wrong, right? Which is what the goal of the criminal justice system is, right? You pay your debt.
So he's already paid the debt.
Right.
And they're still bringing charges against him for having done the thing.
Right.
And so apparently Comer was on Jake Tapper's show. And so they're indicting him.
Republican Congress people.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the thing that.
So Comer says, my concern is that he indicted Hunter Biden to protect him. That Weiss is protecting Hunter Biden.
Yeah, it's right, exactly.
And Tapper says he indicted him to protect him. Sure, right?
Yeah, right.
And Tapper's like, this has been a cover up. And Tapper's like, he indicted him to cover it up.
Yeah, it is so crazy making. It is so it's
absurd.
It is absurd. It is absolutely absurd. And you could and when you get to the point where Jake Tapper is saying,
okay.
That, like, if you say so, sweetie, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad. Like, you got nothing.
Well, they're going to impeach Biden with nothing.
I think they're going to impeach Hunter Biden. I mean, the way they're going at this point, I feel like they're going to add a constitutional
Hunter Biden has offered to testify publicly.
And they said no.
That, and they're demanding that he show up. I think it's on Monday or Tuesday of next week, and he better be there. I saw one of the Republican House members tweet, you better be there. And and Jim Jordan signed the letter, right? Demanding. And I'm thinking to myself, this has just gone beyond the theater of the absurd, right? I mean, Jim Jordan has an outstanding,
Oh my God, Mr. No
contempt of
Subpoena. He's
Congress
like,
charge against him for not honoring the subpoena. So, I mean, come the fuck on with this. Do they
where
really
does he
think
get
that
off?
we're
Where
all
does Jim
stupid,
Jordan get off demanding that anybody appear anywhere for any reason?
right?
There's no moral authority whatsoever.
No.
Oh, and by the way, Liz Cheney really dishes on Jim Jordan, and
Yeah.
she
Yes,
ripped
she does. I heard that too. Oh my God.
You're convincing me. You got me to get prequel. Now I'm going to have to get Liz's book too, aren't I?
I know. For me, one at a time. I'm just, I'm waiting for prequel.
Prequel was great.
Yeah, I know.
It was everything that Karoli said it was. And
yeah. And I'm going to do what you said, Karoli. I'm going to listen to it while I read it also.
Yeah.
I'm going to do
I
that.
think it helps. Something like that where all the names matter, and
That's
I'm
really
terrible with
smart. And I wish I had thought to do that with some of the other books I've read, like Master of the Senate, which took me a long time to read. But that, books like that, I could have really benefited from doing that. It's such a good idea.
So.
I don't know. From prequel, the main thing that I got out of it was the Germans' assessment of how easy it is to disunify the United States.
Right.
And that is the same playbook that the Russian communists did. And it is the same playbook that Putin is doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And with so much more success.
Right. And I think that was really the main point of the book. If there was a warning in that book, that was it. It's so easy to divide us.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's one, if you don't mind, like a little transition here. That's one of the things that bothers me about how we're currently talking about Israel and Palestine and Hamas and everything, because it's clearly dividing the left. I'm on a list that has been a unified list since before Biden was elected, that their purpose is to, basically amplify Democratic messages and lift up Biden on social media. Right. And they fell apart yesterday.
Yeah.
Over some happy Hanukkah gifts that were shared that had messaging that they just couldn't abide. And I thought, wow, that was easy. I mean, they've been together for 4 years and they're now, basically.
Well, we experienced it in 2016 when the issue was Bernie versus Hillary.
Right.
And we saw how easy it was to disunify the left.
Right.
Well, but part of that is because the left doesn't demand heterogeneous thinking.
Right.
Right.
The left doesn't demand cultish devotion to a leader and a frame of mind and a set of simple edicts that they must follow.
Yeah.
And so it is a danger. It is the other edge of the sword of embracing diversity and empathy, and being willing to adopt and entertain viewpoints that are different from your own. And it is part of why the threads that hold us together are thinner than the Republicans.
They are thinner, but I hope that we can, in the next 11 months, figure out a way to overcome this kind of divide and just say,
I do too. But maybe if we keep that, if we keep that overarching framework and understand that that's part of why we're feeling so divided right now is actually reflective of our strength.
Right.
And focus on those of us that are staying together, like the allies I have been seeing and are are just they are fortifying me. People like Malcolm Nance and Richie Torres. I'm speaking as an American Jewish person right now, against anti-Semitism. That people who are speaking up against anti-Semitism right now who aren't Jewish, and it is those people are really really helping to keep me going, and I'm trying to focus on them and rely on them and amplify them, and let them know how grateful I am, and help other and show I'm amplifying groups. There are groups of Arabs and Jews that are working together on peace,
Yeah.
and I am still in the midst of all of this,
Yes.
here in America and in Israel, and I'm amplifying them, and I'm saying, look, this is
Yes.
still happening in the face of all that's going on. Let's we can do this. We can do this.
So I think that's a really
But not
important
if
point.
not if you're telling. But at the same time, I'm not gonna, to use a tired metaphor, I'm not gonna light myself on fire to keep you warm.
Yeah.
And if I'm not gonna make Hamas. I'm not gonna play nice with Hamas, and I'm
No.
not gonna let myself be exterminated
No.
because some of you hate Jews. So there's so I am gonna stick with the people who are fortifying me and also working for peace.
So I think
Mhm.
that's really important to amplify the positive voices and not the
Yeah.
negative. I see a lot of, to my chagrin, on social media, people amplifying negative voices by saying things like, the left, blah 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 blah, the left, and they're not wrong. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying
No,
that's
they're not.
amplifying the wrong thing. Right, they need to amplify the voices that you're talking about, the ones that are supportive or working for peace, or not falling into the lockstep division that I feel like there's a lot of Russians out there that would love to see the left divide on this, and
Absolutely.
and I wouldn't be at all surprised in the coming years to find out that Russia was funding Hamas or training Hamas
Oh,
or helping
guaranteed.
them. I mean,
Guaranteed. If only through Iran. I mean,
right.
if it's a guarantee.
But my point being that by amplifying the positive pieces of it, we can try to heal divides and make them, and
Yes.
give us more of a reason to come together. And I think that's really smart on your part to do that.
It is. And you know what? This is the perfect way to end the hour,
How smart I
Wow.
am.
talking about getting together,
Can we
working
say
towards
Happy
peace.
Hanukkah without us falling apart?
Happy
What?
Hanukkah.
Can
Happy
we say
Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah without us
Happy
falling apart?
Hanukkah.
It's dark where I am.
I know
Well,
it's
then
light
it's
where I
time
am.
for you to
I
light
know I could
the
see.
candles. Happy
Happy
Hanukkah,
Hanukkah to you both.
Aliza.
Thank you. Happy
Thank
Hanukkah to
you.
you.
Thank you, Karoli.
Thank you.
And that is our show for the week. Happy Hanukkah to all of you. And join us again next week on YouTube, MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com, or on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli and Aliza saying goodbye for the MOMocrats. Bye.
Bye.
MOMocrats, Mama Chats, part of the Demcast family of podcasts.